episode 6 already.
Woo, woo, woo.
We're like, what, a fourth of the way done?
Yeah, something like that.
Something
Is
like that.
Is that the math?
A little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that.
Well, we have playoffs, we have the preview show.
Yeah.
So we're just rolling.
We're in between a fourth and a half. We could maybe call this a third. It's like about a third, 6, 12, 18, it's 17 weeks.
Don't get all math on me.
We talking playoffs here?
Ooh, my head hurts.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about playoffs
Suns
yet.
playoffs were a little bit more than a third.
All right, guys. So welcome back. Episode 6 already for this week on the Gridiron. I'm your host, Brooke Meenachan, joined by me, Matt St. Jean, and Jude Allume, as always. No special guest for us today. Our guys were pretty busy. I know Julian's always with us, but he had some prior commitments, but hopefully he's back next week. So let's just get started in this week's
Actually,
segment.
I have a beat on our guests. He is not American.
What?
He's not American.
Is it your friend?
No phone calls. It will be live in studio, so stay tuned for that next week.
Interesting. All right. We'll probably announce that later on during the week. So check our Facebook and Twitter for that. All right. So let's get started. Week 5 just happening, right? Week 5, am I right?
Yeah. Yep.
Week 5. This is a segment called Hold Up, Wait a Minute.
Hold up, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute.
And this is a segment where we talk about, what stood out to us, what made us, just go, hold up, wait a minute, that just happened. Jude, you want to start us off? What did you see this week?
Sure. Right off the back, it was 2 big injuries that's going to change the outcourse of
Know exactly who you're talking about, so let's hear it.
We're talking J.J. Watt. We're talking Odell Beckham. With the Giants, it was a bleak outlook to begin with. But without Odell Beckham, it's like you almost lose all hope completely.
Yeah. Are you digging your grave right now?
No,
Is
I'm not
Matt
digging the
doing
grave.
it for you?
We're already in the grave right now. Right now it's just a matter of...
sorry. So we should just do like
It's just
one of
a
these
matter
we should
of-
put it back to dirt on.
Just like put the dirt back
How
on.
good of a draft pick we're going to get. That's all we're thinking about right now. The next game, our top receiver might be Roger Lewis. Do any of you know who that is?
Exactly. Oh my God.
You lose your 4 top receivers. But specifically Odell Beckham, that's the face of your
That
franchise.
is huge.
Not Eli, not the defense, even though it's a star-studded defense still, but you lose Odell Beckham, then it's bleak, to say the least. And then you've got J.J. Watt. This team, the Texans, they were looking all right for the rest of the season, I would say. You put Deshaun Watson in, he infuses that offense, they're looking great. But now you lose J.J. Watt, who this is kind of becoming like a recurring pattern for every year, major injury, season ender, and that just changes your defense because now they don't have to plan for both Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. They can just take out Jadeveon Clowney. You're not worried about the other side since Watt's not there, and then that just takes away from their defense. And I really do believe defense wins championships, which is why I thought the Texans could go to the playoffs, possibly make some noise, at least win a game or 2. Maybe not the Super Bowl, but win a game or 2. But without JJ, I don't think it's the same anymore.
So I think this is where the loss of AJ Bouye to division rival
magnifies it.
Jaguars magnifies it because you do have Whitney Merciless on the other side. Brian Cushing in the middle. When is he going to get hurt?
Is he hurt?
Is he hurt already?
Yeah.
He might be hurt already. So I agree.
He's not hurt. He's suspended for...
PEDs.
Yeah.
God, what a meathead.
Yeah.
Unreal.
OBJ also out, but didn't they just lose Brandon Marshall as well?
Yeah, he's out for the season as well, but
So,
I don't really focus on that because he was kind of non-existent.
right, but it's still a huge part
I love
of
him,
their...
but he's still the number 2 receiver
Exactly.
for them, and he's gone. And Sterling Shepard, at least he's going to come back, but he's not going to play this next game. It's looking like with his ankle, there's a lot of ankle injuries for these guys.
Puts a lot of pressure on Evan Ingram too.
Yeah,
tight end.
yeah, but pressure makes diamonds, so hopefully, he can develop further with Eli Manning.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, look, he was...
Look at him trying to be all positive.
Look
If
at
you guys
that.
are just joining us
Going
for the
into
first
the
time,
season...
and you haven't already
Usually
noticed,
it's like a
Jude
rain
is
cloud
a
over
huge
here.
Giants fan, and he's been disappointed by this season,
Oh, my
obviously.
goodness.
But we'll get into
He loses
that.
the entire offense, and he's been more positive this week than any other week.
When you're already at the bottom of the bottom, you have nothing to do but
Exactly.
look up,
Hey, I'm there with you, dude.
Exactly,
I get it.
If we were to play you guys would probably win.
All right, well, here, can I go for my hold up, wait a
Sure.
minute?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
talking about the Browns, Northeast Ohio native here. My hold up, wait a minute is how Hugh Jackson took out Deshaun Kaiser and put in Kevin Hogan, 4th-string quarterback from training camp.
Shocker.
And now he's starting week 5.
Shocker.
Hugh Jackson is the biggest hypocrite that I have ever seen in football.
No.
The biggest?
Not the biggest. That was a little bit of a hot take. I'm just very
No,
upset
go ahead,
about
go
the
ahead,
situation.
go ahead. Keep going.
From day one, Deshaun Kaiser is my guy no matter what. No matter what. The Browns are known for killing quarterbacks' confidence. That's why we've had, 29 in the past how many years?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just the fact that you can't say from the day one, Kaiser's going to be your guy no matter what. You want to develop him to be your franchise quarterback, and he still says that Kaiser is his franchise quarterback. He believes he's his franchise quarterback. Then why take him out and put in Kevin Hogan? I understand Kevin Hogan showed a little bit of promise in the 4th quarter last week, but he's not going to be your franchise quarterback. He's just not.
Well, for those people that are saying that preseason doesn't matter, obviously it does, because Kaiser's performance in the preseason put enough pressure on Hugh Jackson to say, hey, this is going to be my guy.
It's what got him the job.
Because
I agree.
Exactly.
But that's the thing, though. You've seen preseason. You know he has it still. It's just he's not getting help from his teammates either.
He
About
doesn't
2
have
weeks
any
ago,
wide receivers, basically.
yeah, Myles Garrett just came back, which is nice for the defense, so we can kind of feed off of that. Corey Coleman's out, his number 1 wide receiver, so it's not really all his fault. He has no one to pass to, and even if he does, 2 weeks ago they had 8 missed passes or 8 drop passes. Yeah. So it's just, I don't get it. I'm irritated by the whole situation.
I'm just really with you on the what's the game? What's the plan here?
Exactly. There is no freaking game plan.
He must have called up Bill O'Brien and be like, "Hey, Bill, what would you do if you were me?" And Bill's like,
"Bill's
you know what?
Get him out of there. Next guy up. Next guy up." I mean, this is your franchise quarterback. I get it. He's not playing well right now, but are you trying to make a push for the playoffs or something?
You know?
You have
Let him
nothing to
develop.
gain.
Yes.
You have nothing to gain by playing Kevin Hogan. I mean, unless you're seriously thinking about letting Kevin Hogan be your new starter. But.
The Browns always are constantly talking about rebuilding, like I've talked about here before. They're always talking about rebuilding.
The old decade rebuild.
You can't rebuild after 5 games, though. You have to continue to put that pressure on the quarterback, yes, and get the patience and see what he develops into.
And it's not like you're in a market.
You're not going to get it.
It's not like you're in a market like New York or Boston where you're expected to win. Like you're in
Exactly.
Cleveland. People are going there to get hammered and watch football.
Hammered,
and if you win,
it's
for the experience.
It's a bonus. If you win, it's a bonus. You don't have that pressure to win in every year.
Right.
Yes. We have the Indians right now, so that's all that matters for us. And the
Cavaliers
Cavaliers starting.
Go Yankees.
What was your wait up, hold a minute? Hold up, wait a minute, excuse me.
My hold up, wait a minute was Adrian Peterson getting shipped to Arizona.
Yep.
We were talking about this earlier. I couldn't believe that the New Orleans Saints were the ones that signed him in the first place in the offseason.
I saw the ESPN, and I was like, no
What?
way.
I got the notification on my phone and I'm like, what?
Makes no sense. I think everybody kind of hopped on the train right away and was like, oh my God, the Saints are going to be a juggernaut. But you have 4 guys in the backfield that know how to break it up and But you add a piece like that to an offense that's already pretty potent.
Not for 1 second did I think, this is going to work. Because you already have Mark Ingram, and he pretty much does what Adrian Peterson does.
Right.
So it's like, what's your thought process?
And he's so much bigger. He's
and then
so
you draft
much
a running
more
back.
powerful.
And then you draft a running back. So it's like, what are you guys doing? You just kind of
Unreal.
wasting picks or something.
I
saw it, and I immediately thought, wow, now I can't draft Mark Ingram in my fantasy league.
Sean Payton and co. just basically showed you how not to invest.
Mm-hmm.
He should literally be in investing 101.
Well, I mean,
He bought him for $2.7 million. And then you sell him for nothing, essentially, and then now you're like, but if you're Arizona, I think you're pretty excited because David Johnson going down, that's huge. You know, he was a big part of their offense going into this season. Adrian Peterson gives them another option that is not similar because he's not as dynamic in the pass game.
Right.
But that's what you have Andre Ellington for. So it helps Carson Palmer out. I think he's pumped. He has another old guy in the locker room that he can hang out with. He's like, what were the early 2000s like?
You old guys need to stick together, huh?
We do. We really do.
You and AP are close in age, actually. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Me and AP would we'd be talking about the 80s and be like, yeah, those 2 years were great.
I love it. All right, so this is actually the perfect segue for our next segment, Orange in the NFL. So as you guys know, We actually broadcast here at Syracuse University, and we try and incorporate Syracuse football in any way we can. So we talk about the Cardinals. Adrian Peterson just traded to them. Let's get into the orange in the NFL right now. Chandler Jones.
We had to take a magnifying glass to the NFL.
Right? Who are these guys?
Define the orange. Like, do more. Get in the NFL. We want to see you in there. But Chandler Jones, former Patriot. I've spoken about him before. Right. Really like him as a player. Really miss him as a pass rusher. He has 5 sacks so far this season. He's had 10 the last bunch of seasons. I think he's due for that again. So he is definitely the best orange football player in the NFL right now. He also has 21 tackles and a forced fumble. So he is a big part of that Arizona Cardinal defense.
All right, so we have 6 players right now in the NFL and 1 head coach. The next 2, Jude, if you want to touch on them, some Giants players that you have on your team.
So I'll actually say, arguably Chandler Jones is the best player in the NFL. It's just that this next player
Jay Bromley?
No, not Jay Bromley.
Justin Pugh.
Plays at a position where, they don't get a lot of, headlines. They don't get a lot of recognition. But he's one of the better linemen in the NFL. Absolutely the best lineman on the Giants team. With question marks at pretty much every other of the 5 positions on the line, he's pretty much the one person they can depend on, they can count on, they can say, we don't have to worry about, being pressured from anybody at this guard position because of Justin Pugh. Now, Jay Bromley, they're expecting a lot out of him because last offseason they let go of Leonard Hankinson. So they were expecting him to kind of step into that other D tackle spot and become the guy, become the run stuffer and, solidify that defense.
And he's not going to get a lot of stats, but he is just more of like
take
a
up a lot of space.
Frees up the linebackers.
So he's pretty much doing his job right now. He's not going to wow you in the stat line, but he is in that starting lineup. He is doing what he's supposed to do, taking up a lot of space, forcing runs to the linebackers to make the tackles. So he's not bad at all. So those 2 guys on the Giants, hey, if every Syracuse player on the Giants plays like that, we can get a couple more of those guys.
So another guy in the league, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Bucs, Cameron Lynch. What do you know about him?
Cameron Lynch, he's in his 3rd season. He's on his 2nd team. He spent a little bit of time with Tampa Bay, got released, and got re-signed. Saw a little bit of action on last Thursday night against the Patriots. Didn't log any stats. But, as the season goes on, people get more fatigued, more tired. Cameron Lynch, a backup linebacker, could look to get some more action, so keep an eye out for him.
Another guy kind of close to home now. He just got signed with the Bills, Shamarko Thomas.
Shamarko, in addition to having one of the best names in the NFL, for sure. The Bills secondary, they traded a lot of pieces during the offseason, and I think Shamarko just adds a nice little bit of depth. And it's good to see a local guy come back to central western New York.
Exactly. One guy that was actually just in the news a couple days ago, Ryan Nassib, just got cut from the Jags.
Right. Where's Brent Axe at? He was so pumped.
He was like, watch out, we might have a quarterback controversy. Nassib's going to start for the Jaguars. That was a hot take. What did he last 2-3 weeks?
I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. Yeah. I was like, yeah, dude, bring in Nassib, bro.
It's not that much of a stress. Reuniting with his former quarterback. Quarterbacks have a habit of I recruited this kid played under me, I can make him into
the head coach. Yeah.
Speaking of the head coach,
Marone.
Syracuse,
got to be front runner for Coach of the Year this year.
Probably, yeah.
Who else would you? Don't give me that. You're just saying that. You're just saying that.
No, it's not, because coaching, they don't just give it out because you won a couple games. You have to make significant strides with your team.
What?
It's week 6.
Exactly.
They're 3-2, right? They're 1 week they look, oh my God, these are the Jaguars, and the next week they're like, oh, that's the Jaguars we know. So it's like they're not consistent with themselves. So I can't.
We have to wait until we start talking playoffs.
Well, all right. So who do you think is a front runner for Coach of the Year? Andy Reid? Do you really want to throw Andy Reid into that discussion?
He's the.
But if you're talking,
he's the only undefeated team right now. So I don't know.
If playoffs started this week, given the Jaguars' reputation, you got to think Marone is in the conversation. At least in the conversation.
He's in the conversation. Yeah, right now they're 3-2, but. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. This week they might lose one if we're following the trend.
I love that defense.
All right.
I love
playoffs?
it on odd weeks. No, this is on odd weeks. On odd weeks, they've been great.
Speaking of, it's not playoff time, but it is an odd week. Week 5. So let's get into the games.
Week 6.
Week 6. All right, yeah.
It was an odd week last week, and they won. Suck it.
I said they'd be good on odd weeks.
Oh, they're good on odd weeks?
Yeah.
Well, I take that.
All right, week 6, guys. Thursday night football starting it off tomorrow. The Eagles taking on the Panthers. Carolina, 3.5-point favorite. What do you guys have in this one? Jude?
Both of these teams are kind of hot right now. Carson Wentz really taking that next step in the second season. And then they started off the season slow, but the Panthers are kind of picking up. Well, not the Panthers, because team-wise, they were good defensively. Offensively, it was Cam Newton. Wasn't seeing much, but these last couple games, he's really coming on, showing you that he's the Cam Newton that won the MVP just 2 short seasons
The
ago.
emergence of Devin Funchess in that offense has been huge.
He's been great for them
They've
these
been
last 2
talking
weeks.
about him since his rookie year, saying like he's going to be a difference maker. He didn't have 2 straight years, didn't really do too much.
Right.
Now Cam Newton is finally relying on him to make plays.
And then they kind of, you kind of hear it in the preseason. Oh, he's been great this offseason. He's going to be the guy. And then they came out the first couple of games and it's like, well, it was just talk.
Yeah.
But now he's really showing that, he put in some extra work. And
Could have buried the lead on that one. I got the Panthers in this one at home against the Eagles.
That's the only reason I'm giving it to the
close.
Panthers as well, because they have the home. I give them a slight advantage just because they got the home field advantage. But again, both of these teams are hot.
I also have the Panthers. However, I do want to bring up the point about Cameron Newton because we didn't get to talk about it last week because it just happened a little bit ago.
Right.
His comments towards the NFL reporter about talking about routes and then he apologized for it.
Right.
Do you think it was sincere? What are your thoughts on it,
His
guys?
apology?
It's kind of cute of you to ask.
Oh, man. Whoa.
I'm kidding. Yeah, you just can't do that. You can't do that.
I quit. See you later.
I'll take this tea right here.
But yeah, you just can't do that. I mean, we're friends, so like that was a joke. But like
Are we
when
friends?
you're maybe not anymore, I guess. But you're on the podium. No.
Risque.
Oh my God.
All right, go ahead. What is your take? What is your take?
Go ahead, Jude. I'm out. I'm out on this one.
Bar none, that was a boneheaded comment that he made. I don't think he did it maliciously.
I'm talking about the apology, though.
The apology, I felt the apology was sincere. I really?
Really?
think,
Those apologies are never sincere.
I
feel like the apology.
Yeah.
Obviously someone made it.
Yeah.
It's not like he was saying, no, I'm not going to apologize.
Right.
Absolutely not. He's like, yeah, I'll apologize.
Right.
I'm
just
gonna
don't think
own
it
up to
was sincere.
I think it was sincere.
I think it was kind of, scripted. Like that just.
I mean, they
someone
write it out for you.
If you're going to sincerely apologize, you have to say it from your heart. No
Because
words.
he's not sorry. He's not sorry.
They want you to
That's why I
touch
said it's
every
not
point.
sincere.
I feel like it is sincere. This is not. This
way.
is not a guy who's
No
like.
way.
This is
doesn't
not a guy
care.
who's like a jerk and he's like, oh yeah, she's a woman. She shouldn't be here. I don't think that's what it was
He
at all.
does-
I think
mean,
it was just a lapse in judgment
you
in
can't-
that moment.
You can't do that, but like I could see him like kind of thinking it was like a flirtatious thing, but like totally inappropriate.
I wouldn't call it flirting either. Just a lapse in judgment.
I mean, anytime Cam flashes that smile,
Yeah,
man,
he gets you.
he's got a great smile. Yeah, melts me.
God.
Melts me.
I agree that it was the judgment call on that. However, if it was a judgment call, I think the apology should be more sincere. That's my take on it.
Right.
And I think to prove himself, obviously actions speak louder than words. So
Listen,
we'll wait and see from him.
I mean, just last thing, like anytime someone like makes a statement, that is not sincere. Like Cam, if he like called the reporter, I forget her name, called the reporter or
She gained like a
texted
100,000
her,
followers.
I know, or like texted
And then-
her or
and
whatever.
then had some tweets revealed that
Yes.
don't shine a good light on
Yep.
her. So
But like, I think that kind of apology never comes across as sincere. Like, I think it's
don't
the
think it's
one-on-one connection, and then the reporter would have to confirm.
I don't think it's up to them.
Cam and I spoke, and
Yeah.
he was sincere.
Which a lot of reporters kind of do that if they're in that situation. So I think they should touch on that as well.
As far as like releasing a statement, I don't think it's really up to them because they're a reflection of the team. So the team
No, it's not. But we were talking about if it's sincere or not.
I know,
we
but
say
I'm just saying, like,
is never sincere.
You can't really fault them for putting out a statement, because
Yeah.
the team is gonna force them to do what's right in that situation. So
All right, well, I just wanted to get that point across and see what you guys thought about it because I was actually kind of curious. It was pretty cute for me to ask, so. All right, Sunday night
I'm
football.
not touching that one.
Sunday football, not Sunday night, excuse me. Miami Dolphins at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The Falcons an 11-point favorite.
Right.
The spread is outrageous on this one.
Right.
Outrageous, but I think the Falcons are going to smoke them. Jay Cutler stinks, man. He stinks.
I think the Falcons will win. I don't know if they're going to smoke them, though.
I think the Dolphins cover.
Yeah, if you look at the Falcons' offense, they've been struggling.
They're coming off a bye week.
They're coming off a bye week, but I mean, what did they do before the bye week that was like, oh, this is the Falcons' offense from last season? Like, Matt Ryan, I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but I feel like he's already thrown for more interceptions this season than he did last season.
Oh.
All right, Green Bay Packers at Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
I don't really want. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is just lights out this season so
man.
far.
Like,
yeah. I mean,
Can you pick against Aaron Rodgers?
No, you really can. And the Minnesota defense is really good, and they are gonna play well at home.
Right.
But I mean, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the dude is never say die. Makes big throws in big situations, and that new running back that they had showed out pretty good. Smith.
Right. Not Smith. Something Jones.
Jones.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was Smith. Jones. So I think Green Bay takes it, but it's going to be close.
I mean, just look at what he did last week against the Cowboys. You leave 1 minute and 30 seconds in the game. For anybody else in the league that might be like, all right, I'm feeling confident. But I know deep down in their hearts, Dallas was like, oh, man, we might have messed up here. Because you give him 1 minute and 30 seconds, that's too much time. He's not going to rush through anything. This is just like second gear for him, no problem. Let me relax. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, touchdown time. Game over. So I don't think it's much to talk about. Go ahead, give it to the Packers.
Yeah. New Orleans, they're hosting the Lions. The Saints are 4.5-point favorite.
Right.
I'm surprised the Saints are a favorite in this one. Like, they get rid of Adrian Peterson. But the
He
Lions are a
wasn't
good
doing
team.
anything for the Lions are a good team. That's why I got them winning. I mean, I just can't really go for the Saints. They played well going into their bye week, but the Lions have a really good defense. Is
their defense similar to what it was last year, their secondary?
Who that?
The Lions? I didn't get into the whole, like, who they have new or anything.
The Lions?
No, they're giving up 330 yards a game in the air.
They are?
Or no, total. So
yeah, that's
the
defense
is good.
is solid. That's what I'm saying. The
Defense
Lions
is solid.
Yeah.
It's basically a game of offense versus defense because I think New Orleans might have the best offense in the league right now, but defense always wins in those situations.
Patriots.
Literally thought you were gonna sneeze, and I was just.
No,
whoa.
they don't. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it's
Tom leads the NFL.
Tom leads the NFL. It's not complete offense though, but all right.
All right, I'm going Lions on that one.
Fun fact.
Right.
They've met 3 years in a row. Who's won the last 3 meetings?
Saints.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep, all 3. So I'm
They
going
picked
with
off
the Lions.
Drew Brees 4 times three or 4 times last year.
Yep.
So.
I don't remember that game, but I believe you.
But whatever. All right, so the Pats in New York, they're taking on the Jets. The Patriots are a 9.5-point favorite.
The battle for supremacy in the AFC East between the
this
New
is a
England
tough one.
Patriots. Oh, shut up.
This is a tough
The
one.
Jets are coming off a huge win over the Cleveland Browns, so.
All right, so the Patriots.
Ginormous win.
That was huge for them.
Let's talk about the all-around Pats offense.
Oh boy.
Averaging
here we go.
just under 30 points per game at 29.6,
Mm-hmm.
averaging 420 yards per game, but they're allowing 447 per game. So
How was your day?
it's the defense. It's the defense that's the problem.
Probably need to go get some lunch or something like that. I haven't eaten, so. Actually, I lied. I had a bagel earlier.
Me too.
Oh, you did? Yeah, cool.
I think to sum it up, Matt is going with the Patriots. Are they going to cover spread?
Yes.
Yes.
They're gonna kill them.
Yeah.
I'm going with you. I mean, the Jets, they have outperformed pretty much everyone's predictions. I saw a nice little story where it's like they kept the predictions from certain people in the preseason. ESPN predicted them to go 0-16, and they're kind of like hanging it up in their locker room. I mean, that's great. Pushes you to win a couple games you're not supposed to win.
Yeah.
But that kind of comes to an end this week. You're not gonna beat the
Their
Patriots.
schedule
I'm sorry.
has been cupcakes, man. So they
I
haven't
agree.
faced good teams.
I agree.
All right, 3-3.
All right, 49ers against the Redskins. Washington is a 9.5-point favorite. Brian Hoyer taking on Kirk Cousins.
I feel like this is the game that on Red Zone that like gets shown like maybe once in the course of the and we're like, oh yeah, this game is happening. I think Kirk Cousins and the Redskins are gonna beat the 49ers at home.
Absolutely. Washington goes into the bye week hot. They're going to come out hot. Luckily, they get a nice little cupcake opponent coming out of the bye week, so they should pick up where they left off, beat the 49ers.
I have the 49ers in this one. I have all the confidence in Brian Hoyer.
Wowzers.
All the confidence.
All the confidence in Brian Hoyer. Said no one ever.
Former Browns
down.
quarterback, baby. Former Browns
Gotta
quarterback.
stick with them.
Show.
Hey, what I will say is that 49ers defense is nothing to,
Yeah, they're not a joke.
That.
They're not a joke, yeah.
But, Kirk Cousins, if the week before the bye week is any indication, him and Terrell Pryor may be finally syncing up.
Terrell Pryor.
We'll get more on that
Terrell
later.
Pryor!
So frustrating. Another former Brown. Yeah.
We can't stand him because he left us.
I mean, you guys weren't trying to give him the money.
Oh, bull crap.
Go for the bag.
Maybe come back.
Speaking
of the
bag,
Browns,
baby.
are they next?
Now Chicago Bears at Baltimore. Let's see. The Ravens, 7-point favorite.
I like the Ravens in this one, even though you guys know I'm not a huge fan of Joe Flacco.
Hey, I'm not a huge fan of Mitch Trubisky.
But I think the
No, I'm
Bears...
just kidding. I love Mitch
What do you
Trubisky.
against Mitch Trubisky?
I think the Browns are actually going to
Poor
cover.
Mitch.
I think the Browns are going to cover in this one. You saw last week they made it.
The Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. Sorry, they're going to make
The
it.
Bears.
It's on my head. Browns are on my head.
You're just now a Browns fan. You're just used to the losses now.
No, I'm not.
You're one of us.
Anyways, the Bears kept it close last week. Mitch Trubisky, it's a rough welcoming to the NFL, but I mean, I think you learn from this, and you make it another close game with the Ravens, who don't have the best of offenses. So,
yeah, I think the Bears defense, like you said, they're good. That pass rush is no joke.
Yeah.
They have those two young guys on the edges that are making it tough for opposing quarterbacks, but Trubisky against that Baltimore defense, I don't see it happening.
Especially absolutely not a win. Just
I don't think so. Baltimore's a really hard place to play in.
Yeah.
I think it's super loud. The fans are crazy.
It's a lot of purple.
They lose by 6
I
instead
love
of
purple.
7.
It's my favorite color. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I literally had that. So, yep. Now we're moving on to the Browns playing Houston.
All right.
You want us to go into it, or you want us to keep it short?
Please go.
Houston is a 9.5-point favorite.
Uh-huh.
I think some of these spreads are outrageous.
I do too.
9.5 points.
I don't think that one's crazy. However, Atlanta being an 11-point favorite over the Dolphins, that was kind of a little too high. Browns, I don't know. I got nothing to say. I want to pick them so bad, but obviously I can't. So.
Deshaun the God.
I mean, he had a lot
he is hot. He's our jiggler of the week. He's jiggling.
Deshaun?
He's jiggling.
Watson. I'm
Deshaun
like,
not
we
Kaiser.
don't have Deshaun Kaiser anymore.
No.
It would have been the
Not
Deshaun's against
Kaiser.
the Deshaun's.
Yeah, it would have been a good marketing opportunity.
Deshaun versus the Deshaun.
Deshaun Watson.
squared, what up?
10, what, the O versus the AU? Is that how it is, right?
What?
Deshaun is D.
A-U-N and then
Deshaun.
S-H-O-N-E.
Yeah, the O versus the AU.
All right.
I didn't know what you were trying to say. All right, who do you have? Let's go.
Yeah,
Texans.
I got the Texans. I don't know why, but I'll put the Browns covering on this one.
That's what I like to hear, Jude. See, the positiveness comes from the Giant. Positiveness? Is that even a word? Positivity comes from the Giants.
Yeah, but that was
and
like
now
the
you're
most
being positive about the Browns.
That was the most hesitant, I think he's like,
no, you know,
See,
just because
he's new to the situation.
Just because
he's new.
JJ's out, so I'm thinking that's gonna help them out too. But then it's like I didn't realize they were gonna be starting Hogan this week. So now
we saw a lot of promise in him in the fourth quarter. So I don't know. And he played a little bit last year, and he didn't do too bad.
Take that with a grain of salt.
All right, whatever. Moving on. The Buccaneers at the Cardinals. Cardinals now have Adrian Peterson. Tampa Bay 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, the Cardinals winning again just because of home field advantage in this one. Tampa Bay, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
Do you think Adrian Peterson makes a difference?
I don't think so because they couldn't run the ball. It wasn't a matter of
They're last in rushing yards and second to last in yards per carry.
It was a matter of that line. The line is not that good. And then the other thing about Adrian Peterson is he's not a good pass blocker. So it's I don't know. Once he's in the game, it's either they're gonna force him to block and he's gonna let Carson Palmer get hit, or they're gonna put him in the game only to run the ball, and that kind of shows your hand early. So now they're gonna stack the box and stop the run. So I still got Arizona winning this, but I'm not 100% confident in it right now.
Matt, who do you have?
Tampa's had the kind of the lengthy week playing last Thursday, so they had a little more time to prepare. I think in an even game like this, you give an edge to the team that had more time in the film room, and so I'm going with Tampa Bay.
All right, let's go a little quickly through these last 4 that we have. The Rams taking on the Jaguars. Jaguars. Jacksonville, 2.5-point favorite.
The 2 surprise teams, man, in the league right now. I'm staying with Jacksonville though. I think that secondary is nasty.
I'm following whatever. I'm following my logic that I gave you guys from earlier. 1 week on, 1 week off. This is the off week for them, so I'm going with the Rams.
All right, Steelers taking on the Chiefs. Kansas City, a 4-point favorite.
This is a tough one.
Chiefs, baby.
Yeah, I gotta go Chiefs. Pittsburgh showed me nothing last week.
Yeah, they really didn't.
5
However,
picks from Big Ben last week.
I think that. Did you hear what he said? He's like, maybe I just don't have it.
He doesn't sound like a guy who's like having.
I don't
fun
think he really
football.
cares anymore, to be honest, which is sad.
Going through the motions.
Yeah, he's one of the most prestigious quarterbacks in NFL history, in my opinion. I think a lot of people's opinions, and just to have him say that, it's kind of. I don't know, but I think they bounce back this week. Should I do the Julian 10 targets, 10 Antonio Brown watch for him? All right, so
dude, Antonio Brown. Anytime I see a stat line, it's good. It gives me an automatic eye roll. Julian,
I gotta deal with this. He was your dud for last week. Wasn't he?
He was. But do you think if Roethlisberger retires that he's gonna be like Jared Lorenzen, where he's gonna like balloon up to like 300 pounds
after he happen, you know?
He's already ballooned.
He's already a big guy, so it can happen, man.
All right, Raiders Chargers. They're even in Oakland.
Who cares about this game?
As long as EJ's playing, I'm picking against the Raiders, man.
Yeah. Chargers. And they got a big win last week.
And last but not least, the Giants taking on the Broncos. Denver, a 12-point favorite.
Oh, man. I wish I could say this was a crazy spread, but who's Eli going to throw the ball to, man? Let's go Denver. Let's move on.
I'm going with the Giants. What? Shock the world. They can't go 0-6.
Are you doing this in spite of Jude, just for his sake?
You know, if we end up watching the games together on Sunday, my friend, then I'm rooting for your happiness, even if you won't root for mine.
Are you going to run around the bar and scream when the Patriots lose?
Absolutely.
He did that 2 weeks ago.
Listen, sometimes you just have to be the bigger man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the gesture, but I could never root for the Patriots. And we won't talk about bigger man because this happened when? On Sunday? Since Sunday till now, you've reminded me each and every day, at least 3 times, that OBJ's not going to play for the rest of the season and that the Giants lost. So, bigger man, I don't know.
We were getting ready for that media law test.
Pat
I was just like sitting in the front row and I turned around and go, hey, Jude.
0-5. I'm like, what are you trying to say? Oh, okay. You're that kind of guy. All right.
All right, let's move on from Jude's misery with the Giants. I'm taking the Broncos as well. Monday night, Indianapolis Colts taking on the Titans in Tennessee, and that's even as well. Real quick, what do you got?
I think Mariota's going to play this game, so I'm going with the Titans.
Do you think Luck makes a surprise start this week?
Not.
I would love to see him come out of the gates and be like, Andrew Luck started this week, but Titans.
Yeah, okay. All agree there?
Yeah.
All right, let's head over to fantasy, the scoop.
Listen, you little wiseacre. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
We never have time for, so let's just get into it, guys. Studs and duds. Who do you have quarterback-wise this week?
I'm rolling with the train. Cameron Newton, you looking good you looking good the last couple weeks. Keep it going, baby. Keep it going, baby.
Dud,
I'm going with Jared Goff. Who are they playing again? They're playing against Jacksonville. Fun little stat about the corners from last week. They're coming off a 5-pick week. QBs have a better QBR spiking the ball than when thrown against Jalen Ramsey and Boye.
Wait, say that again?
QBs have a better QBR spiking the ball than when thrown against Ramsey and Boye. Mind you, this is before last week's game that I saw this little tidbit. So it's probably like a worse QBR now that they have 5 INTs. I don't know. Because, I mean, you lose more points for interceptions than incompletions.
Yeah.
And these guys, you just can't throw against them.
Awful.
You can't throw against them, man.
No, I think Jacksonville's money finally paid off. But dud for me this week, or stud, sorry, Matty Ice. Coming up the bye week.
Yourself, or are we talking about a player?
I mean, naturally, every week.
All right, Matt Stafford, dud.
No, Matty Ice. Matt Ryan.
Oh my God.
Matty Ice.
Yeah. Matty Ice.
What's
fellow Ginge.
What's Stafford's nickname?
He doesn't have one.
He's the only Matt I realized that was in the NFL.
Fratty
Forgot about Matt Ryan.
So, dud.
That is how he's not my stud then.
Dud this week, I think we talked about it earlier. Right. Breeze does not play well against the Lions, so he's not putting up those kind of numbers.
Gotcha.
All right, moving on.
Running back.
Yeah, running backs.
I like Fournette. I really, you know what? He might have just made a fan out of me last week. He sees the guy coming and he waves him on. Like, come and get some. I absolutely
Who did you do that to?
love it.
Huh? Who were they playing?
They were playing against the Steelers. I forget the safety's name, but he was like, come and get some.
Was it Hayden?
No, it wasn't Hayden.
Wow.
It was a safety, number 23.
That's Hayden.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Hayden.
Joe Hayden took Hayden's number for the Browns. He's 23 again, I thought.
It wasn't Hayden. I don't know who it was, but it definitely wasn't Hayden.
Either way, I love it.
For the dud, I'm going with Le'Veon. So the Chiefs run defense. Playing? Okay. Chiefs run defense second in the league. Even with Big Ben struggling last week, they couldn't really get Le'Veon going. I know 2 weeks ago he put up a monster day. Everybody thought, okay, he's back. Doesn't look to be all the way back just yet. So I think this is going to be a tough week again for him.
Matt?
So I think I'm going to go opposite of Jude here, per usual. The Los Angeles Rams defensive line is their strong point. They have a good front seven, so I think they're going to stop Fournette. So he's my dud for this week, and then stud, it's Mike Gillislee. Yeah. For the New England Patriots. Yeah. I think the Pats are going to go up early, and it's going to force them to run the ball.
Major roll of the dice there. I mean,
I was going to say, what has he done so far? What's his stats on
3 touchdowns week 1.
Yeah,
and then we haven't heard from him since.
No. It's not really a thing with him. It's more like the Patriots just never sticking to one guy.
That's true.
And so it's, okay, this week let's roll with you. This week let's roll with you.
That's true. So.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this week.
I'm rolling the dice.
All right, wide receivers.
You want? I'll go.
I thought we were just going to go in order.
DeAndre Hopkins, for me, is going to be my stud against the Browns. Him and Deshaun have a really good connection there.
Yeah.
Right, and he's been missing that the last 2 seasons, so he's going to have a big year this year. Right. Dud, Amari Cooper. It stinks.
It's sad to see.
It's really sad because he's just so wasted right now. Yeah. Even though I do have
literally
him on the DraftKings boy. What?
I said literally or.
He probably is wasted right now. He's getting home from practice. EJ Manuel threw like 10 passes at his feet. He's like, I need a boost.
So I did mention Le'Veon run defense of the Chiefs. They're tough. They're gonna shut him down. But I got AB going. So
10 targets.
They've got the great
10 receptions.
They've got the great run defense, terrible pass defense. I think they're the second worst pass defense in the league. AB, just like Julian would say.
Julian, we're giving a shout out to you right now. We missed you on the show. Jude's taking over for you. Antonio Brown's going to be jiggling this week.
He's jiggling this week. For the dud, I got Demaryius Thomas. So they are going up against the Giants. Of course, we know the Giants are probably not going to win this game, but they still have a great defense.
Do we know that? Are we sure?
They do have a good pass defense.
As sure as you can get without being 100% sure.
Right.
He's still going to draw the matchup against either Janoris Jenkins or Eli Apple. It's going to be a tough day for him. He should not have a great day by any means.
All right, tight ends, guys. Matt?
I'm going to go with Austin Seferian-Jenkins, the tight end for the New York Jets. The Pats have been torched by tight ends all season, and he actually showed out pretty well last week, and he's a good athlete, so I think he can have a good week. Dud, I'm going to go with Gronk, because he takes a ton of money to like buy him on DraftKings, and you're expecting him to score a lot of points, but the Patriots go up, they're resting him. Like last week he didn't even play because the Patriots were like, oh, we can win without him. And I talked to like a sports talk radio show host over the weekend, Andy Gresh, shout out, and he name drop.
Belichick the other day.
Name drop. And he's like, yeah. I mean, I talked to sources inside the team, and they said that they thought they could win without Gronkowski, and they just rested him. Yeah. So like, they're already concerned about his health.
Yeah, makes sense.
He's another player that each season he's a liability to get hurt. So
who are your tight
I understand it. I'm gonna go with 2 just because every week I've gone with Ertz and he's been worth it. He's been money. But at this point, I feel like it's kind of a cheat just to pick the same guy every week. So I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram on the Giants. Eli's got to throw the ball to somebody.
Some people just don't value consistency anymore, you know?
I value consistency. I just want to give the fans a little something.
Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want. How would you feel if every week I just said, yeah, Zach Ertz, Zach Ertz, Zach Ertz, Zach Ertz, Zach Ertz.
We want variety, dude.
Exactly. So I'm going with
Evan
Ingram.
Pounce on you,
Yeah?
No.
All right, Dud, let's hear it.
For the dud, I'm going with Jordan Reed. I mean, he really hasn't established himself as that dominant tight end that we've seen in seasons past. On top of that, the emergence of Vernon Davis. He's coming on and he's just taking away targets from Reed as well, and he's showing that he's still got some juice in the tank.
All right, real quick, guys, defense.
Defense, I mean, this was a no-brainer for me. I'm going
Jacksonville.
No, I'm going with the Broncos defense.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude,
Eli's
self-loathing is just not.
That's not self-loathing.
I agree.
That's me as a fantasy player knowing.
I have the Broncos defense, so I'm ready. They had a bye week last week, and I had the Browns defense.
Shepard might not play this week, right? Who are you throwing the ball to? And then Eli is one of those quarterbacks. He's gonna get frustrated. He's gonna get a little timid in the pocket, get a little free. Broncos still have Von Miller, who's gonna be a headache all day. That line is still not great. He's gonna throw the ball up. He's gonna turn it over a couple times.
Eli's gonna be texting Talib at halftime and be like, "Yo, get ready. The ball's coming to you."
Listen, man, it's just a smart play to go with the Broncos this week. For the dud, I'm going with the Steelers. Nobody has been able to stop the Chiefs just yet. Alex Smith playing better than I've ever seen him play. Kareem Hunt, he's having a hell of a season. Probably my favorite for Rookie of the Year right now. I'm going to go ahead and sit the Steelers defense.
All right, real quick, Matt.
Jacksonville is going to be my stud of the week, and then dud, I think, is Kansas City. I think it's going to be a high scoring.
Can I just say this might be the first time that we actually get through all of this, so we can move on to the waiver wonder of the week.
The waiver wonder of the week.
Let's give it up since this is the first time we've ever done this and had time. Julian, you're off the show. We don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Whoa.
Wowzers.
I'm kidding. I want you back next week. All right, so waiver wonder of the week, guys. Who is on the waiver wires that you need to pick up?
There's a couple pieces on the waiver wire right now. We're giving one.
You can do a
We're
few.
giving one. Waiver wonder of the week. It didn't say waiver wonders.
All right, I mean, you already went with Adrian Peterson. That was one of the guys on my list, so I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon. A lot of people, they saw Dalvin Cook go down. They went with Latavius Murray.
She's going to add him now.
He's probably already gone.
I think Corey has him.
So everybody was trying to add Latavius Murray.
Can we just zoom in on my fantasy right here? Who picked him up already?
Oh, jeez. Way to go. All right.
Oh, look at that.
I'm 1-4, but he's counting.
Savvy.
So he's been there. He knows the offense. He was already going to be the guy they put in on third down to catch the ball. But they tried to get Latavius Murray started last week. Didn't really work out. They let him run the ball, and he was just running rush out over that Bears defense. And the Bears defense is no slouch either. So I think going further, he's going to be the guy for them.
Matt?
So I was going to go with Adrian Peterson, but I feel like we talked enough about that man today.
Get off the Adrian Peterson.
He's in my flex, bro. I'm starting him in my flex.
Anyway,
okay,
bro.
Opposite of Cam Newton right there.
Bro. So I'm going to say pick up Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
For the Saints. Now that Peterson's out of the picture, he's going to get more burn, and Breeze likes throwing to his running backs.
Yes, he does.
So I think he could get you some points.
All right.
If he's available, pick up Sterling Shepard too. Give you a 2-for-1, guys. Pick up Sterling Shepard.
2-for-1 deal from
2-for-1.
Jude.
All right.
He's here all week if you need him. Fantasy talk.
Listen, he's only owned in about 63% of leagues. I mean, that's kind of high, but that's still 30% of the leagues where he's going to be out there and available. He's the de facto number one guy. Pick him up.
Is there anybody on the waivers that you think people would pick up, but you want, you should stay away from him? Don't buy into the hype.
Let me. I don't know. What do you have someone in mind, Brooke?
I don't, but I don't pay attention to the waivers that much.
I had someone in mind. I was going with Adrian Peterson. I mean, that line.
And you want to stay away from him? Is that
I'm
what you're saying?
going to stay away until I can see it because that line is still atrocious.
Well, you can't get him anyways. Matt has him on our league.
Hey, no problem. I wasn't looking for him, so.
So I'm looking at the ads right now. People are picking up Lewis. That's like the only Giants receiver that's healthy.
Roger Lewis, yeah.
I'm not picking him up. But I just don't think you touch the Giants. You don't touch that offense right now.
I'm going with Ingram. I like Ingram. He already had a little rapport with Eli. I feel like he's probably another de facto number one receiver for Eli now too. So
I have to start him this week because Graham's on a bye.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our 6th episode of This Week on the Gridiron. I'm your host, Brooke Meenachan. Alongside me, Matt St. Jean and Jude Allume.
All right.
Jude Allume.
Giving me names out here.
Jude Allume. Stay with us next week. We'll be back same time on Wednesday.
Go Pats!
No.
All
All right.